This is the 3 p.m. Takeover, Radio Northern Beach's only drive-home show.
Keep it right here for a whole hour of fresh hits and entertainment for your Wednesday afternoon.
Here we go.
This is Work From Home by Fifth Harmony. You're listening to the 3 p.m. Takeover on Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7 and 90.3. And we are so excited to be back in the studio. We were away last week. Victoria was skiing.
It's mainly my fault. You say we, but it's all my fault. I'm very sorry, listeners.
That's true. Well, I was away from the studio, but I wasn't away skiing.
If it makes everyone feel better, I had a really lovely time skiing, so it was worth it.
Well, thanks, Victoria.
I got 2 amazing perfect days of skiing in, so I'm happy.
Oh, that's nice. Well, actually, I went skiing about 6 months ago because I was in the winter in Canada. So
In the winter?
In the winter.
I was in the winter.
As opposed to, like, it was summer here.
I'd love to ski in Canada.
So at least I've been skiing, like, recently.
It's on my skiing bucket list, I think, is to ski in Canada.
You are quite the skier.
Yeah,
You're a secret talent.
If anyone knows me, you know I'm not sporty, but skiing is my thing.
This is true. And talking of sport.
And I'm not bad either. I'm actually pretty good at it, I must say.
So
just a bit of toot my own horn. That's me tooting my own horn.
Very nice. But coming up in the show today, we are going to be talking about the Olympics in Rio. We are right in the middle of the action. It's so exciting.
I love the Olympics.
So do I. We're going to have a discussion about school. So that is coming up. But we're going to start with the weirdest story I've read, and I feel so sad. I'm subscribed to this really weird thing that sends you the strangest news of the week, or like the funniest news of the week, or whatever.
That is the greatest thing to subscribe to.
It's really, really cool. I love
that would be the best job, to be the person who filters it and sends it out.
Oh, who has to find it and
fun.
everything. It's so cool. But I found a story that I can't decide if it's sad or funny, and it's sort of somewhere in between. So there's a photographer who has gotten married recently. He's from New Delhi. And his wife has lost her passport. So she couldn't actually come on the honeymoon with him, which is really sad. So he's gone on this long honeymoon to Greece and Italy by himself because they couldn't get a refund.
How long is... Because some people go for like 2 weeks. Some people go for like a month and a half on their honeymoon.
No, it's 3. He's got another 3 weeks by himself. But it's sad because they couldn't like change the name on the ticket or anything. So he actually couldn't take anybody. But because he's a photographer, he's got a printed out picture of her. So he's been taking photos with her picture. There's a picture of him sitting on the plane and her photo.
He couldn't get a cardboard cutout of it.
Yeah, he's got like a cutout as well. So there's a picture of her head like strapped to the empty seat next to him on the plane, and he's taken selfies with it. Isn't that so funny?
I heard of a story, I think it was a month or so ago, a girl... I don't know where she was from. I don't remember the exact details, but her and her husband were going to go on honeymoon with, I think, his parents. I think it was like a family holiday-esque thing that was part of their honeymoon. And his visa got like denied when they got to the like Greece or something, one of the countries they were going to. And so all her honeymoon photos were photos of her with her arm as if she's like got it around someone, and she just looks really sad.
Aww.
And then she lost her phone, so she was pretending to pose with her husband and then like pretending to hold her phone, and she looked like distraught in every photo with these beautiful sunsets, and she's just like,
That's so sad.
They were really funny though. It was like absolutely making light of the situation.
That's true. And it seems similar with this guy from New Delhi, and because he's a photographer, he's obviously going to use that experience. And like when you've already paid, I guess you've already paid, but as a photographer, he's looking at it more as like a work trip now, you know, so he's doing all this scenic photography and that kind of thing. But it's so funny, there's just so many pictures of him, and he's got the picture or the cutout of the wife just like propped next to him, and like propped opposite him in restaurants, and like propped next to him on buses, or like next to him at the beach. And
that's so cute.
It is so cute. But it got me wondering, how could you only realise 2 or 3 days before your honeymoon that you'd lost your passport? Like, wouldn't you kind of think, I know you're busy with a wedding, but wouldn't you sort of think about it sooner, or be like, I haven't seen it lately?
Well, maybe she lost it like really close to the trip. Like maybe they had like a destination wedding and she lost it there or something. And then obviously they let you fly home, but...
Yeah, because she, you know, obviously you use your passport to make all your bookings and stuff, like her forms and everything. So she must have lost it shortly before leaving for honeymoon. But I feel sad, and she waved him off at the departures at the airport. Like she had to come with him and say goodbye and everything.
That's so sad.
I know, and she's waiting for a new passport to be issued, and they tried to get her like an emergency one. They even contacted someone like quite high up in government, but it couldn't happen.
Oh wow, that's so sad. Maybe they'll do like another, like if it's more like a work trip here, maybe they'll do like a second honeymoon where she's actually going along.
Well, this is their second honeymoon. So I'm just looking now. So they got married in December, and they took a mini moon around Italy.
Okay,
I mean,
so
not Italy, sorry. Around India, because they're Indian.
Okay, but they've already had like their honeymoon. Okay, yeah, it's less sad now.
They had a mini moon, and this was supposed to be their big honeymoon.
You could just like Photoshop her in later.
I know, but so
I know it's not the same,
sad.
but
It's never quite the same. It makes me feel sad.
they're still together, so it's not all is lost.
Only the money and the
He'll get some
memories
fantastic
for life.
pictures. He'll get some fantastic pictures out of it, and good on him for not being super sad about the situation and using it to his advantage.
That's true. All right, stay tuned. You're listening to The Takeover, and we're going to be right back in a minute.
Welcome back to the 3 p.m. Takeover. That was Don't Be Shy.
Ooh.
I hope you enjoyed that one. And you just came across a very interesting article in our last segment. I came across an interesting, more close to home article about a week or so ago to do with the Church Point. It's getting a revamp.
Oh, I like Church Point kind of as it is.
Me too, but
Can it be revamped? It's already like classy as F.
Well,
Just saying.
you know
saying.
the Pasadena Function Center, the sort of
Yes,
old,
I know
that's
the
the
one.
main thing they're revamping, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's going to be a licensed restaurant, motel accommodation, and it's going to have a day spa.
Day spa.
I know.
Fancy.
Church Point's about to become very fancy.
Day spa.
I really like
Do they do
the,
discounts for radio hosts?
We'll have to find out.
Ooh.
It's not going to be ready for another 18 months, unfortunately. Yeah.
All right.
But when it's ready, we will be there with our discount cards. I really like Church Point. I love the little general store restaurant cafe there. And I just didn't, I know we did a suburb focus on Church Point, but I didn't realize how small it is. It's only like 4 streets.
Yeah, it's not the longest place.
I think, but it always feels busy because of that restaurant there, and I think also because everyone gets to and from Scotland Island from that pier.
But I love Church Point as well. I have, I guess, kind of like distant family that live there. And so I would always go there as a child for dinner parties. And all the houses along the waterfront there, they're all really big and fancy. And this house that we used to go to and all the ones next to it had inclinators. So you'd have to get in and go like down the hill to get to the house and stuff.
Those
and
are so much fun.
it was just the coolest. And the house is so cool. It's like 3 stories. It's octagonal. And it's got natural rock and like a spiral staircase all in the middle. It's the coolest place.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
And I really love Church Point. I mean, it's difficult for transport, but it's a cool place.
Well, it's not as far as you think. It's only like a 4-kilometre walk from Monavale shops,
That is true.
which is a lot closer than I visualise it to be, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this peninsula. There are so many little pocket areas that feel completely rural and completely cut off, but you're actually only like 4 or 5K from something major. But once you're there, it doesn't feel like it. It's so secluded. And that's really, really nice that you can live in a city and still have areas like that.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the upgrades they're going to do are actually going to be really helpful and great. Like they're not going to, I don't think they're going to change how Church Point is. It's just going to, like, it's like an upgrade. They're doing a $10 million upgrade.
Wow.
They're going to get 120 more car spaces, a new seawall, a timber pedestrian boardwalk, as well as the day spa and the restaurant, and a couple more cafes are going to be there. So I think it's going to become a lot more social, but I don't think it's going to lose that cute, closed off community vibe.
I hope not, because it's nice. I like
Yeah.
it kind of as it is.
I haven't been to the general store cafe in ages. My dad and I used to go there for like coffees and lunches and stuff because he used to love going
that's
on that
true.
deck and like working and reading a book there.
Yeah, I like that deck. It's nice and
so
quiet.
lovely. Yeah.
And it's only a
beautiful.
little bit further around to drive to get to Bayview, and then there's a bit more happening in Bayview. So
And same if you want to
good
like
like that.
hit up to Cottage Point or anything. That's
Yeah.
even more secluded and beautiful down there
I
too.
went to a wedding in Cottage Point once,
wow.
and it was so lovely because they had it like right at the top, and they took all these photos, and you could see everything, and
It's such a
Yeah.
beautiful area.
it was really pretty. It was funny because the people that had the wedding, they were family of mine, and they were from the UK. And I can't remember because I was very young, but I think they came over here just to get married here or something. I don't know.
That
But
is
they-
a destination wedding and a
But they
half.
they chose Cottage Point, and they were like, oh yeah, it's quite nice. And I was like, Cottage Point is so nice.
Quite nice.
Like,
Quite
come on.
nice.
Like, especially if you're from the UK, like it's got to be nice, right? Open space and stuff.
It's one of the places, like the restaurant there, where the Sydney seaplanes, you can land there, have lunch, and fly back. Like
That is fancy.
that's fancy. Let me tell you.
We're going to be right back after this, and we are going to be talking about the Rio Olympics. So make sure you stay tuned. Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7 and 90.3. You're listening to the 3 p.m. Takeover, and that was We Don't Talk Anymore by, who was it by? Selena Gomez? Maybe?
And Charlie Puth.
Charlie Puth, he's the one that sung that song with Meghan Trainor.
Yes, and he sung the song for Furious 7.
And he's one of those people that just, you're like, oh, it was him.
He's
just
really
kind of there.
like his music.
Same.
Don't love his eyebrows.
I've never noticed his eyebrows.
You need to Google his eyebrows. They're a little bit odd. And it
Oh.
annoys me. And I feel bad that it annoys me, but it does.
No, eyebrows are one of those things. I find
notice
I can
and immediately.
Yes, Justin Timberlake. He annoys me because his eyebrows are very, very straight. And I don't like
no
them.
curve? Like
no curve at all. They're just like lines. And they've always frustrated me. People and their eyebrows. That is like we're going to have to turn this into a topic or a special or
we'll
something.
have an eyebrow special.
Because, oh my God, I have so much to say on the conversation of eyebrows.
And that is not even what the segment is about.
No. But moving on from that, we are going to talk about the Olympics. So I thought that I would start, Victoria, by saying a few fun facts about the Rio Games.
I am all in for fun facts.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
So this is the very first Olympics to be held in South America.
Really? I would have thought they'd held it somewhere else in South America, considering all the other countries have had it
never.
like 5 times each.
No, I think it's more that South America is always where they host like soccer World Cups or specific sports, but they've never hosted an Olympics
That's
before.
so exciting.
It's cool, hey. I think it's quite exciting. And what is interesting is the stadium, which is called I think it's the Maracana Stadium, which is where they held the opening and the closing ceremony, is the stadium that has had the most people together in one spot in the world in history. And it was in 1950.
Oh.
They've not topped it since then. They squeezed
What happened
in.
then?
They squeezed in nearly 175,000 people for the final of a World Cup. Like a football World Cup.
Of course it was for football.
But I can't believe it was 1950 and there was that many people then.
Well, that many people were around then,
But not that many people, like,
That
these
travelled
days
for
people will
sport.
travel to
Yeah.
a different continent to see something.
Yeah, true.
And I find it weird that there's never been that amount of people
There
topped
since?
again.
Yeah.
So I think Sydney still has the most amount of people that have attended an opening ceremony. And that was only like 130-ish thousand. So this is quite a lot more.
That's
Really
so
impressive.
exciting.
It is cool, hey.
I love the Olympics. I wish it happened more often instead of... That's why I love the Winter Olympics.
It wouldn't be as exciting though.
Because you get the every 2 years rather than just every 4
Yeah,
years.
having the Olympics as well is really cool. So there are 10,500 athletes
Whoa.
from 206 countries, including the refugee team and the combined athletes team.
You don't know how many emotions I feel about the refugee team. It makes every time I see them, I'm like, oh, you're racing under the Olympic flag. Like, it makes me so happy and so sad all at once.
No, so they're different
so
things. So
lovely.
there's the combined independent athletes, and they have the Olympic flag, and then there's also the refugee team under the flag. So they have two separate teams.
Oh, well, the refugee team, I'm like, oh, you can still represent like sports.
I know,
Go
because
sports.
there's always a group of people that are from countries where, say, they're like redefining political borders. They don't technically belong to a country, so they compete
That's
as
the
combined
Olympic
athletes.
flag, yeah.
But they may not be refugees or something. But so that's the combined flag as well.
Did you
They
see
have
that one of the countries was only able to send one athlete? And I'm pretty sure he just won something, or he won his
Oh,
heat or
wow.
something. Palau?
That's exciting.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't know.
because someone was saying that he was the flag bearer, and then the other commentator said something like, "Not hard to pick." Like,
The
he's like one
only
of them.
athlete. That's so
Yeah.
sad. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he's
Oh.
like doing really well. Yay!
That's really good. Good
He
for him.
trains in Australia because it's a Pacific
Oh.
island, so he trains
Okay.
in Queensland.
Probably from Cook Islands or something. There's often in like one or
Yeah,
two.
well, the Cook Islands had a bunch of people. I think
Oh,
it was
wow.
Palau. I hadn't actually heard of it before. And
Oh,
I'm
I don't know.
I'm always surprised when I hear a country and I haven't heard of it before.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I've been on this earth 23 years. How are there still countries I've never heard
You've
of?
never heard of, yeah. Or there's a lot that sort of sound the same.
Yeah.
And you get confused. But anyway,
Yeah.
so golf.
More fun facts.
That's true. So golf is back in the Olympics after 112 years out of the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
So that's exciting for all the golfers. First year that rugby sevens has been in the Olympics.
Yes, and the
It's
Australian
exciting.
girls team won gold.
Hooray. So exciting for them. And this is the first Olympics, this makes me feel so depressed, that features athletes that were born in the 21st century.
Oh, yeah, because it's 15 and up is the age, isn't it?
Yeah, or 14, yeah.
So a kid born in 2001 can be competing.
Yeah.
That's insane. I feel that's the thing. Every other athlete that comes up, they say their age, and I'm like, yep, they're younger than me. This is the first Olympics where I felt old.
Yes.
Because last Olympics I was like 18, 19.
That's the thing, when you have
So
the
I
4-year
didn't-
gap,
I was kind of like, oh,
it
they're
makes
all my
quite
age.
a change.
Yeah.
So we were in our first year of university when the last Olympics were on. That's
and I
crazy.
still felt really young because all the athletes were my age or older.
But
except
now
for,
they're
like,
all younger than you?
It's very upsetting.
You're past this point now and it's just downhill from here.
I know.
They get younger and younger and fitter every year.
Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to my pension that comes with the next Olympics. But
But even so, there's a bit of a story behind the mascot. So the mascot is called Vinicius, and it's a yellow and blue creature, and it represents the Brazilian traditional wildlife.
Ooh.
And it can be, the idea is that it's many in one, so it can like stretch and it can leap and it can jump and do all sorts of like different things. So,
wow.
and they've sold a huge amount of merchandise using it. So that's really, really good for them.
Do you remember the 3 that Australia had for the Sydney 2000 Olympics?
What they're for?
It was Sid, Millie and Oz.
No, and Ollie.
Yeah. Sid, Millie and
Ollie. Yeah, Sid, Millie and Ollie.
The kookaburra. There was...
The platypus.
And there was like a lizard or something.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
Was it a lizard?
There's Lizzie the lizard.
Yeah.
So there was Ollie, Sid, Millie and Lizzie. There were 4.
That was fun. I used to have the little toys of them. I loved the
So
Sydney
did I.
Olympics. It was so exciting.
What was Ollie? He was like a...
An
Sid was
echidna. An echidna. There was an echidna.
No, Millie was the echidna. And
Yeah.
Sid was the platypus.
And there was
Ollie
the
was like a...
cockatoo. The kookaburra.
Ollie was the kookaburra.
Yeah.
And Lizzie was the lizard.
Yeah, that was
Amazingly.
great. My uncle and aunt, they were volunteers together.
That's cute.
Yeah,
You know
they
what?
were like the uniform and stuff. It was really cute.
Talking of volunteers, there are 70,000 volunteers at the Rio Olympics.
70,000.
70,000. And the majority
That's
of them...
7 for every athlete.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, obviously they're not just there for the athlete. They're there for like
Lots of other things. But
audience members and stuff.
the ratio is like 1:7.
Yeah.
But this is the cool thing. Aside from Brazilian volunteers, the highest amount of volunteers have come from the US.
Really?
Yes, they've come down from North America, which is really cool. But anyway, I want to do a little bit of an Olympic quiz with you,
Okay.
which I think might be fun. So this quiz is called What Olympic Event Should You Do? So like we discussed at the beginning of the show, if you were going to do an event, it would probably be skiing, but that's Winter Olympics.
Yes,
now I
it's
find you a
summer
summer
Olympics,
sport.
yep.
A summer sport. Okay. So are you ready?
Yes.
Question 1. The thought of wearing spandex makes you gag, get excited, or remember your childhood?
I don't know. Like none. I guess we can say get excited, I guess.
What says excited brackets, it's so comfortable?
Oh, yeah, okay. It is comfortable.
Okay, good.
It's not like when you sit down in jeans and little bunches behind your knees. Like, that doesn't happen.
That's true. You're getting a pet. You choose a bulldog, a chinchilla, a rabbit, a fish, a cat, or a lizard.
A rabbit. I've
rabbit.
always wanted a pet bunny.
Same. That's a good choice. Sweating is A, inconvenient. B, fine as long as it only happens when I'm exercising. Or C, gross.
Fine if it's happening while I'm exercising.
Okay, good choice. You're sounding
you.
very athletic so far.
Thank you.
Question 4. Oh no, you're in a rush. You just dropped your sunglasses underneath the car. Do you A, try and kick them out? B, crawl under and grab them? C, get the hose and spray them across to the other side? D, hit things under the car to try and knock it out? The next one is lift up the car and just get it.
Well, that's obviously my answer. No.
You're going to be a weightlifter, right? Or the last one, get your phone out and call your mum because she helps you with these things.
I would crawl under.
Okay, good one. Men and women don't compete against each other at the Olympics. Do you think that's fair? A, no way. Men should compete against the women. B, definitely not fair. Us women should be able to compete with the men easily. C, I'm a man and I think it's unfair. Or D, even though I'm a woman, I would only want diverse women.
I think I'm a man, therefore no. I think I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I guess I think it's fine. I think women should verse women and men should verse men.
Same, because different physical
Especially
capabilities
things
and all
in
that.
like the wrestling and boxing with the weight classes.
Yeah.
It's way out of line because women and men, even they might be the same skill level, have very different weight levels because of the way their bodies work.
That's true. Okay. Being outdoors is A, fun, B, okay, C, terrible.
Okay.
Okay, good. Next one. Your friend is about to make you breakfast. What do you want? A protein shake, egg, wheat toast, and homemade fries, fruit and yogurt, or Captain Crunch cereal, or maybe pancakes, or maybe French toast. That's one category.
A fruit and yogurt. That sounds nice.
It does. Good choice. What's your hidden talent? You can make your chest muscles dance. You can kick butt at video games. You can pick up stuff with your feet.
Yes, I can do that.
You can stand on your head, or you don't have any talents.
No, the picking up stuff with your feet. I've got monkey feet. It's great.
Okay, good. Number 9. Are you going to watch the Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. We're going to go with that. What best describes your appearance? Big and strong, soft and pudgy, tall and lean, or short and strong?
I don't know. How would you?
I think I would call you tall and lean.
Tall and lean. Thank you. I'm probably not the tallest,
But you're not short.
and I'm not strong.
That's true. And every other category included strong.
Yeah.
Which you are not particularly.
No.
So we're going to have to go with
That's
that.
all right.
Okay. Question 11. What are you going to do for your summer vacation?
Okay.
Train for sports, watch TV, or spend time at the beach?
Probably watch TV. Let's be honest.
Okay. How do you stay hydrated? Gatorade, soda, or water?
Water.
Ooh. What's your favourite snack? Beef jerky, chips, granola, or just water for me?
Beef jerky? No, probably chips.
Yeah. Which of these 3 physical feats can you do? Can you do 100 push-ups?
No,
Find something to watch on TV any time of day?
probably.
Run 7 miles in 7 minutes?
No,
Hold your breath for a really long time?
no,
Do the splits?
no,
Jump really high?
no. Do the TV one. I have really bad, for a clarinet player of like 8 to 10 years, I have really bad lung capacity. It's terrible.
Oh, well, there we go. We are going to find out what Sport Victoria is right after these songs.
Welcome back. That was Britney Spears, followed by Flume, a little Northern Beaches boy. I always forget the.
I did not know Flume was from the Northern Beaches.
I totally can't
I'm
remember what
so
suburb.
impressed.
Yeah, didn't you know that?
No.
And I always think he's like 16, 17, 18, but apparently he's like 22 or something.
I hope we have time to cover that in our suburb focus. Like, I hope we haven't been past his suburb yet. I don't even know.
I'll get right on it right now.
Oh my
but
gosh.
First things first. What Olympic sport am I going into for Tokyo? That's what 2020 is, isn't it?
Tokyo is 2020. Apparently, your Olympic sport is gymnastics.
Ooh, I need to start stretching.
That's so funny. I'm not sure that's what I expected for your sport, but I don't know what I would have expected.
It is one of my favourites to watch. At the Sydney 2000 Olympics, Mum and I went to the gymnastics final.
So did I.
It's good. It's the
so
best.
good.
I was saying the other day because like everything's going on once. There's no like downtime. It's never boring. There's always something amazing happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What I also find impressive is that they have to be amazing at like 5 different things.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise, if you do, I don't know, like another sport where it's you're often more, if it's like track and field, you'll just do long jump.
Yeah. No,
Well, gymnastics are doing like everything. So
Yeah.
I'm,
It is really
I'm
cool.
happy to join that team. And me and
there we
Simone
go.
Biles can be besties.
You can. Oh
I'm
my
excited.
gosh. Okay, so moving away to something totally different. I read a really interesting study today that made me kind of feel a bit better about something. And I thought it'd be a good thing to discuss with you, and you'll find out why.
Okay.
So the University of Sydney has released a study which says that children who are older for their school year, which is generally children that were held back, are actually disadvantaged in the long term rather than advantaged, which is so interesting because generally 99% of evidence points to children starting school later. They always say it's better to wait a year. And this is actually something that says it the other way. And it's really interesting for us because you and I are exactly a year apart in age. You're older than me. But we were in the same school year. So I wanted to know your opinion on how you felt being on the oldest end of the school year and whether you think it was bad or good for you overall.
Yeah, I think there are definitely pros. I think a great thing was I turned 18 first.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was, I think, the 6th or 7th oldest in our year. So I had one of the first, and it meant that if I did like a themed birthday, it's like if someone else did it, they were technically copying me because my birthday came first.
You get to do everything first.
So definitely perks to that. But I think everyone, when they found out that I was quite old for my year, people have that assumption that like, oh, so you're dumb because you were held back. And it's like, no, I'm just old for my year. I'm not stupid. Thank you very much.
Because there are so many reasons why people repeat. But I always wondered if you got that as a thing. That's interesting.
But I think a perk for if you're the youngest is definitely that everyone just assumes that you're smart and advanced. But you don't get to like drink first. So
That's true.
legally. But you do get to like scab rides off all the people who have their P plates first because they're older.
It's interesting. I also agree that there are pros and cons to being young. So for me, I found that it was a pro, not because people would be like, oh, you're so smart. But I think in my mind, I felt that because I was younger, but I was doing things with older people, then I was advanced and that was a good thing. Like, I don't know why. That's sort of just like how I looked at it when I was younger. But you're right. There are definite cons in the sense that you're not an adult in high school. You have to drive later, you drink later, all these things. But at the same time, I actually quite liked that because being the younger one, I was always playing catch up and I liked that because it made me want to achieve things faster. So once I got to drive, like I did it really fast and I did it really well and I always wanted to, it made me, I guess, want to chase things. It made me quite competitive in a good way, which I liked.
I didn't mind it because I've got an older brother and like our extended group of friends through like church groups and family friend groups, I was always one of the younger people. So I didn't mind having one aspect of my life where I was older.
Yeah.
I actually quite liked that. And I had that, like his benchmark to like how many hours he did for, you know, driving and all that kind of stuff. I sort of had that. I had him as a benchmark to, I guess, try and get up to.
Yeah,
but
that's
we have
true.
such different interests that thankfully we never pitted against each other. So it would have been awkward. But did you, I don't know, I loved that I could drive first, but I hated that I became a taxi for everybody.
That's really true.
Especially when I didn't mind if like you and I lived really close during high school. So like I would pick you up and drop you off. And I didn't mind that because you were like literally less like 3 minutes away.
Yeah.
But I have friends who would ask for lifts and I'm like, you're like a 20-minute detour. No. And they never offer petrol money.
What's interesting though is I spoke to my mum about this when I read this, and she is pro starting school later, and if she could do it again, she wishes that she'd held me back. Not because she feels like it disadvantaged me, but because she is pro starting older. And it's actually a fluke that I started as a young child. So what happened is the person that used to look after me got injured, and so I had to start school as a 3-year-old. But because my mum was a kindergarten teacher and she was at the school as well, it was allowed. So by the time I finished kindy, I'd already done 2 years of kindy anyway, so I couldn't go and repeat and do a third year.
Yeah.
So
get really good at shapes.
It was just kind of luck that I ended up being on the younger end, because my mum said had that not been a case, I would have been a year behind.
Because normally you wouldn't have been, just for where the months for the age group years would have sat, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You would definitely have been the year below.
So I had a look, and it's quite different because in New South Wales, if you are going to a state school, you have to turn 5 by the end of July, which is really quite young. And in a private school, you have to have turned 5 by the end of April, usually. So the difficult period is kind of between February and June, with parents deciding whether the people born in those months should go a year early or should hold a year back. So it's really interesting because there are actually every school year about a third of students in New South Wales that start are born in those months and are younger. But now nearly a quarter of children are being held back, and that's apparently quite a new thing. Like nobody was held back until sort of like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's quite a new trend, and it's because parents are wanting their children to be on the upper end and be the leaders, not the followers, I suppose.
I don't think your age determines whether you're a leader or a follower. I'm probably definitely a follower, and I was one of the oldest kids in my year.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? And I feel
I think you're much more of a leader.
I'm a leader type personality, but I'm actually younger. So that's interesting. Maybe those kind of things, maybe if you're younger, you try to step up, and if you're older, you try to kind of come down a little bit to make it match.
I think it's also just personality.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody is different. So like last question before we wrap this up. So do you feel there are any long-term disadvantages to having been older?
No, not really, because I had friends who were like you, who were the youngest in the year, but I also easily made friends with the people in the year above as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess maybe the people who are in the year below and like 2 years below felt a lot further away.
Yeah.
Especially age-wise. Like you meet a kid who graduated the year after, but they will be almost 2 years younger. If they're the younger end of their year.
Yeah, they're nearly 2 years younger than you. That's true. I think for me, there hasn't been any negative impacts to being younger. I think I found more positive than negative on the whole. But the one thing is, I feel like I matured so much between being 17 and 18 in my first year of university. It's interesting. I noticed my biggest period of growth was actually between 17 and 18.
I definitely had to grow up a lot for university just because of how it was. Like, it's just a very different environment, I think. So I know that I changed quite a bit and had to mature in certain areas a lot quicker. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. We at the 3PM Takeover Studios do not find any systematic evidence saying that either is better. But if you have an opinion on whether it's better to be older or younger when you start school, let us know right on our social media pages, and we would love to hear from you. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the 3PM Takeover. We are getting towards the very end of our show.
Which is sad.
It is a bit sad. But what's that mean, Victoria?
Oh, I think I know what you're hinting at. Is it time for Suburb Focus?
It sure is time for Suburb Focus.
Woohoo!
So exciting.
Okay.
Woo!
Very Mario, the Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
It's very woohoo.
It does sound a bit like that. So today we are heading to Narrowena. So Narrowena.
Give us some deets. Some narrow deets.
Some narrow deets. So Narrowena, and I never thought about this until I was researching this, and I realised it's actually built on a ridge. So Narrowena is very, very high. So when you're driving through Narrowena, you can see Longreef and DY and the Garigal National Park as well, because Narrowena is all really high, which means that Narrowena has one of the hottest average temperatures of all the suburbs on the peninsula.
Oh, wow.
Because of it being higher up, I suppose.
So if you like summer and or heat, get yourself to Narrowena.
This is true. Narrowena is an Aboriginal word, and it means quiet place in the hills.
Aww.
Which I think is quite nice.
Oh, that's very nice. Not hot place in the hills.
Isn't that impressive that they have one word that means quiet place in the hills? I can imagine Narrowena as a word though. Like if you're driving around just overseas and you're like, let's look for a Narrowena to eat lunch.
It's not like a cafe.
No, but it makes sense. Like a
Look for a quiet place on a hill to eat lunch.
Like it's quite cool. Like I could see it. I could see it working as a word. Like
I think we should try and incorporate it more into
everyday
colloquial language. Yeah, use Narrowena to mean a quiet place on a hill.
I actually think it's quite cool.
We're gonna start it, guys.
We are.
Jump on this trend.
So the suburb developed a lot after World War II when the land around there was subdivided. So it's one of the newer suburbs of the areas, which is quite cool. And of course, in the 1960s and 70s, Narrowena became quite a hub for public housing commission and actually remains one of only 2 suburbs on the peninsula that still has public housing. And the suburb itself is known as a drive-through suburb, which I think is quite cool because it connects Warringah Road and the forest area and that more enclosed area from the northern half of the beaches. So a lot of people will drive through Narrowena to get out to the beach. So it's quite a used drive-through route, and so they call it the drive-by suburb.
That's good. There you go.
Because it's one of those suburbs, now I think about it, I go there a lot only because I drive through, but I don't think I've ever visited anybody there or like been to an event there or anything. But it's just somewhere that you always drive through.
I always get Narrowena and Narrabeen confused. Sometimes I'll be like, I was thinking, I've totally been to Narrowena recently. I was like, no, I went to Narrabeen recently, not Narrowena.
Because they're not close necessarily.
No, they just have like very similar names.
They just have a similar name.
And that's enough to confuse me.
I wonder, Narrabeen must be an Aboriginal word as well then.
We'll get to that. Hold your horses.
No, we haven't had Narrabeen yet, have we?
I can't remember now.
No, we haven't, because Narrabeen is
so many suburbs I can't even remember anymore.
Narrabeen is south towards Manly as opposed to north, so
yes,
we have not reached Narrabeen yet.
Yeah.
But that is all for Narrowena. If you are a listener from Narrowena, thanks for listening. Let us know and tell us more about Narrowena because there isn't much to find about Narrowena. It's an elusive little thing.
Oh, it's such a drive-by suburb. Elusive drive-by quiet hilly suburb.
That's true. But anyway, we are going to wrap up the show for this week. Make sure that you stay tuned for our very last song. We have an awesome song coming up from U2 called The Miracle of Joey Ramone. And we will see you next week.
Have a great one.